Hello, this is a small C# tutorial where I will show how to create a drag and drop mechanism, and how it will look like is I'll have a window here, and we have a small text file which has these 4 items, 4 words basically. So if I drag and drop over to this window and let go, they will appear in this list box, and that's basically what we're gonna have to do. Okay, so let's start. Let's create new project. Call this, we're gonna choose a Windows Forms app, and call this a drag drop tutorial. I don't know, this you can leave this at the latest. You can have 4.5, I think it's fine, probably as well, probably earlier as well. So create the project, and we'll minimize this window. Alright, make this one a little bit smaller. We don't need it that large. Window. Change the name to drag and drop text. I'm sorry, you have to drag and drop text. Put it together, and this one will be called drag and drop text. So we'll go to our toolbox, and we'll choose a panel, and we can stretch it out a little bit, or we can just press this little triangle and dock in parent container, so it's just gonna follow along if you start. Actually, can turn this off and change the color to something more visible, and if you drag along now, it will follow along with the panel, will follow along with the rest of the window. So if you had it undocked, it would just be this small little panel and won't be following. So leave that at dock in parent container. Alright, and then we go to event, and we're going to click here next to drag enter, and then double click on the panel, and we'll take the E effect and drag drop, and we need the all effects, so it will include the effects when the cursor is changing into different icons and stuff like that. So the next one will go and create a drag and drop event here. Just double click in this field, and that will create a drag and drop. So here's the more interesting part. So what we need is, when this drag and drop effect happens, for instance, we can just try it out. Message box.show, and just write it works. So we start the program, and right now it's not going to load anything. right, we forgot one thing. We need to set it to true, that it allows it to drop. So we go back here into properties and allow drop and set it to true, and then restart the program. And if we drag, it shows that it works. That's when it triggers this event, it shows. Well, what we need to do is to load it into this list. So we just create a go and create a list box. Turn this off, go to the toolbox, and where do we have a list box, and double click and put it here somewhere in the middle. Alright, let's call it. We should have named some of these things with a better name, but let's make sure that we name this one drag drop list box. Okay, so when you drop in the field, not in the box. We could have made it that you drag and drop on the box, on the list box itself as well, but we'll just focus right now on the whole drag and drop mechanism. So if you go to save this, and then you go to form here, and instead of it works, we're going to create a string array. So string, make sure that it's an array, and call it get files. So out of that, we'll take from that event, we're going to take the data, get data, and what we need is data formats and file drop, and it's not going to auto convert, so that's what we're going to do here. We're going to cast it. Why is it saying that it can't convert object to string? So we're gonna do that. Convert it to string array. So here we have the list. So you can add that. This means basically you can add several files at the same time. You can from that specific region, from that specific folder, you can just add several files at the same time, but we're going to just focus on the one here. So we make another list, and this will be for the what the file contains. So it's the text lines, so call this text lines, and we're gonna take a file, and yes, we need to be using system.io, and file appears, and after that we're gonna take read all lines, and in that method we're going to take the path that we got, so it's the get files path, and since it's an array, we're only interested in the first one, we're not interested in anything else. To list right, and will have to be inside this one instead, and then semicolon. Okay, so the list is ready. Now we have to put it inside the list box itself. So I'm gonna need a for each. I wrote for each, and then I pressed tab. So var item, call it line, and then in collection, well, it's text files, text lines, I'm sorry, and for every line we're going to add this to the drag drop list box. So dot items dot add, and inside it's going to be the line which we have in our text file. So this is actually basically done. Just start it up, and we can try and add, and it adds all the files that we had. Let's just create a new file, new text file, call it just stuff2. Let's write some names: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and then save the file, and then you can add into another, like the next line. It just continues over and over again. But you could just for instance, you could just clear the list and add whatever new files you need if you need that type of functionality. Items clear in the drag drop event, so we can start it. And for instance, if we take the first one, which was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the other names, and it just writes over them basically. Yeah, that's about it. This was a much shorter tutorial than I usually make. The other ones are the last one I did was very long, more than an hour, in 3 parts. So yeah, I hope you learned something, and leave anything at the comments if you're interested to know more. Goodbye.